Okay, and now we're recording. So I'm Shannon Doe. I'm the host of the webinar, and I am the presenter as well today, talking about resources for new and beginning farmers. I'm with University of Maryland Extension, work with the Women in Ag program, but also the Maryland Beginning Farmer program. I'm going to move to the presentation today. Here's my contact information. My email is sdill@umd.edu. If you have any questions or follow-up from today, be happy to help. Any questions, you can post that down in this chat pod and send to me. Any comments or questions, we'd love to hear from you. So in looking at resources for new and beginning farmers, often being in a county office and listed on the Beginning Farmer website, I receive lots of questions from potential farmers about wanting to start farming. Where do we start? Questions on products, questions on expenses, questions on land. So as I was creating this presentation, I thought about how I go through that discussion, and there's three main areas that I think is square one. You know, that product development piece. What is it that you're going to be growing or selling? How far and developed is that product? Who is the market? Where are you going to be selling this product at? Who's going to be buying it? And then how much is it going to cost to produce this product? Are you going to be able to make it cash flow? So before the business plan, before investments happen, really trying to work through these three things, I believe is square one. So in the product development piece, the first discussion I like to have, other than just preferences, you know, do you like crops? Do you like animals? Are you interested in value added? Those type of things is what are the resources that are available. National studies have shown here in the Mid-Atlantic, definitely land is probably one of the most limiting factors. So in our beginning farmer programs on the websites, we have a number of pieces of information about access to land. Many states have a land link program. In Maryland, we have the Maryland Farm Link. And these are websites that help connect agricultural landowners to those that want to farm. And that may be through purchase, and it may be through some type of long-term leases or rentals. So it is a place where you can list some classifieds, and our Maryland Farm Link has a lot of information on it about understanding zoning, covenants, all of those things that could restrict your agricultural operations. So in looking at the land, talking with them about if there's crops, if there's certain things that considerations with the soil or the land they need to think of. There's the web soil survey, finding out what that land or parcels are zoned. So many beginning farmers might just be starting on an acre, so it could be listed as a residential. And then many neighborhoods have covenants. So I know a number of our covenants around here will restrict cloven hoof animals. So you could have a horse, but they would not allow, say, swine or pigs. So looking at those resources. The other resources are your local extension office and soil districts. So I have a beginning farmer come in, or often they'll email me, and I say, you know, where are you located, and try to connect them with the resources that I know that are right there in their area that understand maybe the markets or the county government regulations. So trying to connect them to the extension office, the extension agents there, as well as the soil districts who often have maybe some technical assistance or some cost share assistance for, say, season extension, high tunnels, maybe cropland buffers, stream stabilization. So connecting them with that. And then trying to figure out what is experience or mentorship. And there's a number of mentorship programs. Many of them are private through nonprofit organizations, NGOs. But finding out what the experience is and if there's someone that they can have as kind of that trusted advisor. Looking at product, really finding something that's unique or different, and then what is the competition in that area. The product should have a place in the market. What is that product's niche? Many beginning farmers don't have a large scale of production, so they're not going to have maybe 50 acres of snap peas that they could sell to a processor or a grocery chain. They can't supply that. So finding something unique that they can focus on, specialize in, what is that niche within the market? So looking at that uniqueness, some differentiation, and then if there's anyone locally that's doing something along those lines. So here I'm introducing our new farmer website. The USDA has supported beginning farmer education nationwide, trying to grow new farmers. And this is the website that University of Maryland has created with a number of our partners on this program. This site helps with some first steps in farming. It's got information on crops, a number of links and resources within Maryland, and just good content in general. We also have a social media site. We have a Facebook page, as well as a YouTube channel where we post some how-to videos on there. There's many other beginning farmer programs nationally. Again, a number of land-grant universities. We'll have it. Cornell, I think, is one of the first institutions to receive some beginning farmer funds, and they have the Small Farms program there. They've got some virtual classes, some great information online. The USDA, they have their Start to Farm program, and you can find them at this website here, newfarmers.usda.gov. Then there's a number of nonprofits that have programs such as beginningfarmers.org and futureharvestcasa.org. And I receive from all of these 4 organizations here regular newsletters with information, announcements about land or work or supplies or just good information in general. So you can subscribe to these pages and get information. So being informed is a really important thing for new and beginning farmers. So that's kind of my information about product development. I have a couple websites I'll show later about where you can go to get some additional product information. But moving now to marketing, figuring out is who are your customers and why will they buy your product and where will you sell. So I have a question here, so I'd like to address that now as taking notes. So we will have this PowerPoint posted on our website. So following this webinar, we will send you out the link as well as these slides, so you will have those. If there's something maybe I'm not saying that's on the slides, then taking notes will be a good thing. So marketing is figuring out who's your consumer. So once you kind of think about the product, I ask the person, well, who's going to buy it? Everyone is not an answer. Everyone is not generally your target market. You obviously have some mind in your head of who would be the person that would come to your farm and purchase your product. So who are your consumers? Why are they going to buy from you? So what makes you important for them to pass by something at a retailer, at a grocery store, and come to you to purchase it? And where do you sell? Okay, I might have a picture on this next slide. That's why it's not advancing. There we go. So the marketing, these are some websites that I find very helpful. It helps with pricing as well as seeing what products are out there. And I've got some screenshots following up. But localharvest.org, it's a national site, lists CSAs, it lists farmers markets, it lists people who sell on the internet. I believe they're free listings or there's different levels of pricing for listings. It's a website that I often will direct beginning farmers to kind of get some pricing and do some market research. The Agriculture Marketing Service, part of USDA, has some great market news, and they publish sales prices on a regular basis, so you can go on that website and find that information out. And then depending on your state, so those of you in Maryland, we have a local farmers market report. That's through Maryland's Best. So we have farms that are listed on Maryland's Best as part of a marketing program through the Department of Agriculture. You can list your farm for free, but on this website also you can go and get prices of different farmers market goods and services throughout the state. So those are the 3 links there that I wanted to highlight. This is just a screenshot, and of course I'm located in Easton, Maryland, so when I screen, Local Harvest knows me. So when I pulled it up, this is where it is at. Shows upcoming events, featured CSAs, featured members. There's a store catalog, lots of information on here. You can sign up for a newsletter. And again, whether you're just doing market research or you want to find out who your competition is or who in the region is selling a certain product, you can check out Local Harvest. I think it's very helpful. And again, of course, in Maryland, we have Maryland's Best as well. This is a screenshot I took today of the Agriculture Marketing Service. I know it's probably super small, and I don't know if anyone's watching on a cell phone, but this is probably even smaller. But you can go to this webpage, and what it has is sales, national fruits, apples, Golden Delicious, per pound, 99 cents. So it'll tell you what the average prices are received. It has these for fruits, vegetables, herbs, ornamentals, cut flowers. You can see on the search bar over on the left-hand side, you can search organic, you can search by the date, you can compare it to the previous year, you can look in your region. So this is really, again, a great way to start kind of getting these numbers together and trying to figure out where your product niche is and some pricing to that. So that's kind of a good segue into my third part, and this is cost of production. And so here in the cost of production, there's the potential yields and sales associated with the product. So if someone says, I want to grow apples, then we ask about what their potential yields are. What are the sales associated with the product? So how much can you grow from one tree or 1 square foot or 1 acre of land you're planning on putting in production? The cost associated with the establishment and maintenance of the product. So maybe it's trying to get established, whether it's getting geared up for livestock, whether it's installing a vineyard or an orchard. What is that establishment? Maybe it's raised beds. What are those expenses and your capital expenses? And what is that annual maintenance? So what are those variable and fixed costs that you're going to have? So within Extension, we use enterprise budgets quite a bit. These budgets are estimations of what your yields are, what your variable costs and your fixed costs can be. And you're going to need to start with estimations. And I think this is really difficult for new and beginning farmers just to get a handle on it. And I often will equate it to, say you're doing a home project. So you're going to put a deck on your house. You're going to have to get an estimation. So you get bids from a builder, or if you're going to do it yourself, how much is the paint going to cost? How much is the wood? You know, and making those decisions on that product. So you've got to start with some type of estimation. And this is an example. If you search, I did a search for blueberry enterprise budget, and this is what I came up with. This is a site from Penn State, and you can see here it's got the variable cost. This is a per acre cost for a year of planning. This is second year, so this doesn't include establishment, but this is annually what your total cost would be for an acre of blueberries. You can see they include inputs like fertilizer, fungicides, herbicides, the plants. They also include things like labor. It's one thing that beginning farmers often, you know, time is a very limiting factor. If you're the farmer and the marketer and you have an outside job and you're trying to do things on the farm. So I really like the enterprise budgets because you can get maybe a little bit of an idea of what it's going to take per acre of time. So this example of blueberries, for 1 acre, it's about 344 hours is what the price is going to be. And you know, that's you know, a big expense that you could have there. So for 1 acre, what that cost is. Moving down, you have your fixed costs with equipment. These are just general costs. I would advise beginning farmers to be careful with fixed costs because these are somewhat fixed cost numbers that we'll assign to a practice. So we'll give a nominal number to equipment or a land charge or an irrigation cost. These things really do vary farm to farm because of your different situations. Do you own the land? Are you paying for the land? Do you own the equipment? Are you making payments on the equipment? So it's extremely different from farm to farm. So enterprise budgets are great. I wouldn't go just by the numbers associated. I would start making your own estimations to get a really good idea of what your costs are going to be. For financing and grants, this is probably another question I get often. You know, there's land given to beginning farmers to get started. There's lots of grant funding for beginning farmers. There are many programs for beginning farmers, but generally there's some pieces connected with that. So banks, I wanted to say that many banks, I know a lot of our local banks have ag lending and have someone within the bank that's really focusing on agriculture. So if you have your local bank, you have a relationship, you may want to talk to them first. There are low interest loans, farm loans through FSA that are programs for new and beginning farmers. They generally take some time, but you can visit your the USDA FSA office in your county and ask them about the farm loans program. There are statewide programs. In Maryland, we have Marbidco that can help, and I know of some farms that have used all three of these things, so a bank, an FSA loan, and a Marbidco loan to be able to make the purchase of a farm and the installation of you know, the activities to get started. So, you know, there's lots of resources out there, but it's not quite as easy as someone's going to, you know, provide a farm and some grants to get started. Very few grants go to startup. Most of the grants are going to be for production related or for expansion. So an example that I have down here, and both of these are open right now. So anyone on the call that's interested, SARE, it's SARE.org. They have a farmer grower grant that they offer, and it's to help you try something new. Maybe you're looking, I've been talking about blueberries, maybe you're looking at specialty bird netting, or maybe you're looking at a mulching system for blueberries. That's somewhat progressive, maybe a little bit different than the norm. You can write a SARE Farmer Grower Grant. The applications are fairly simple. They're easy to write. They're due December 5th. So if you have an established farm and you want to try something a little bit different, you could apply for a SARE Farmer Grower Grant. USDA ValueAdded Grant. You actually have to be producing that product. So if I want to make, you know, a pepper jelly, I need to be growing the peppers or some ingredient to make that pepper jelly. So again, I need to already be established, and then I can apply for that USDA ValueAdded Grant. That one is open as well. I'm not sure the closing date, but it's pretty soon. And it is an in-depth, I've worked with a number of growers on it. It is an in-depth application, but it's extremely worthwhile if you're looking at value added. So that's kind of my financing and grants 101 when I talk to beginning farmer. If they ask about, you know, trying to get started in funding, those are there. Lines of credit are also could be very helpful if you've already, again, got established a relationship with the bank many farmers utilize a line of credit to use production expenses in the beginning of the year and then pay it off at the end of the year once harvest has happened. So there's a couple of those types of things that are available. So I've talked about a number of things today, and I think resources for new and beginning farmers is really, what is the right mix to get that information out? And I think that all of these things together will help you be a successful farmer and have a great business. There's a number of educational websites out there. Things are always changing, new research, new products, new specialty crops, new programs. So just staying abreast of those, getting on listservs and checking those out. Social media, again, lots of social media outlets that share information, ask questions, answer questions. I really enjoy engaging on those. Conferences and workshops were coming up during our big conference season. And generally, farmers have the December, January, February conference season. There's fruit grower workshops. There's specialty crop workshop. There's marketing workshops. So those are really great to take advantage of. Add in this hands-on or field opportunities. So during the growing season, I know if you get with your local extension office or the local nonprofits, they'll have some hands-on. We have pruning clinics or grafting clinics or how to can clinics. So getting involved with, again, your local extension office and nonprofits will help you, again, know of those opportunities that are coming up. Having some trusted individuals to discuss questions with, ideas with, bounce ideas off of, someone that'll give you an honest answer. And so having a network of those people are great. And then really having a support system for you personally for your business. Farming is a family affair. There's partners involved, there's family, there's friends. And so having that support system that you can then go back and talk to and again, develop these ideas. And keeping an open mind. There's lots of new opportunities out there, and keeping that open mind and adding in these mix of resources. To review, I would suggest working on a good product, something you're proud of, something that has good quality, and then something that's unique or filling a void in your market area, in your market segment. So work on that product development. Maybe it's packaging, maybe it's how much you offer, maybe it's varietal, maybe it's the way you grow it. So working on that product development. Know your market and who your customer will be. Again, you might get surprised sometimes who wants your product or who's interested, but don't make the mistake of saying, well, everybody's going to want what I have. Try to figure out where those people are going to be and why they're going to, again, make the extra stop on the way home from work after they've picked the kids up and gone to the grocery store and picked up the prescriptions. Why are they going to stop in a farm stand or at your farm to pick up something? So again, who is that customer? And then working towards a profit, always keeping those numbers at the forefront, understanding what inputs and what your costs are associated with it, plan for the good and the bad, and work towards that profit. With that, I definitely offer if there's any questions. I see somebody had opened a question up here. There's a chat pod. My email I'll put here in the chat pod as well. Definitely feel free to send me an email. And visit our Beginning Farmer website. Again, the recording will be posted hopefully by the end of today along with the slides that I have here. That way, if you want to connect with the websites I've shared, these are ones that I've used. I'd love to hear from anyone if there's something that you use getting started, or those of you that advise beginning farmers, any suggestions, we'd appreciate it. Okay. I don't see any questions coming in. I can't tell if anyone's chatting, but appreciate everyone tuning in today. And okay, very good question. So we have a question about any recommendations for CPAs that are familiar with small farms. So that's a great question. I would go by word of mouth. So if you've got a group of trusted farmers, word of mouth is the best way. Unfortunately, I think there is for attorneys, they can list themselves as ag attorneys, but I have not seen that for CPAs. What I would suggest anyone who is operating a new beginning business for farming to go to the IRS webpage. I know it's scary, but I would look up, there is a publication, I believe it's 225, that is the farming publication. And then I would also download the Schedule F, and that's the Form 1040 for farming. And I would get familiar with that. Again, it's, you know, I've had some CPAs that tell me the tax code is written in 8th grade reading level. Doesn't necessarily mean we understand it, but to read through it, to be informed so you can ask questions. That way you're informed as well. So I would start off with looking at both publications on the IRS website, the form that you'll be filling out if you're a farm, Schedule F, as well as the publication 225. Get somewhat familiar with that. That way you can ask informed decisions, and then I try to find other local farmers in your area and who they're using. With equipment, depreciation, some of the bonus depreciation they've had the last couple of years, I know very few farmers that are doing their own taxes. The tax programs are really made for individuals, but it really starts with very good record keeping. So that's why, again, that publication and that form will help you, because you want to categorize your expenses related to your tax form. So you know, whether it's a training that you pay for, so if you pay to go to a conference, you can deduct that from your farm. What you can deduct as far as mileage, making sure you've got to keep those records in the forehand, so you can't be at the end of 2017 and say, oh, well, I think I went here and I think I went there. A list of successful value-added. We have a great question here. Do I have a list of successful value-added in your network producers that offer apprenticeships for wannabe value-added producers? That's a great question. And you know, that's I know who I could ask to get the answer to that, and I can get back to you on it. One thing I would suggest is looking at local nonprofits. I'm not sure where you are located, but here on the Eastern Shore, we have some commercial kitchens and culinary centers that are available to have people come in and work there. So I think that's a great idea. I also think, you know, doing some cold calling, you go on local harvest, or you see someone that's making something, or you want to learn an art or a trade, maybe it's making apple butter, maybe it's asking someone, can I come help? I know a lot of our fruit growers do that. Aspiring vineyard owners will go out to current vineyards and help prune and help harvest and help leaf pull, so they can start getting, again, that hands-on experience. But that's a great question. Any grants for brand new farmers? We have 37 acres just bought in June. It's an estate sale and haven't been active. There are some low interest loans if you're looking at starting up. So it looks like you've already purchased the farm, so you're looking at kind of that business development. What I will say is very few grants, or even something like the Farm Service Agency or Farm Credit are probably going to want to see a business plan. So I think working through the 3 questions we had today, that's square one, and then developing that business plan, because again, they're going to want to see, grants like to see skin in the game. So very few just say, yeah, here's some money, see if it works. They want to see that you've done some investment, which you already have. So they're going to want to now see, can you make it cash flow? Can you make the payback? So I would start developing a business plan that includes, what your products are, what your cash flow is going to be. That way you can look at repayment. The loans are still low. I know people are saying interest rates are going up, but loans are still very low. And so I would look into that. How much do you need to even get started, right? You need to kind of figure that out. So that's where I would start. Yeah, and so farm credit is, so you use farm credit to purchase the property. They have lines of credit that you can purchase to or that you can pay on. You can just pay interest to get started. I've done that a couple times with different projects. Take out a line of credit, get established, and then pay it back, pay the interest and then pay it back. Again, they may need a plan to understand that. I have a really good question on here about a registered farm name or a name, and if it needs to be registered with the state. So that is an excellent question. I'd be curious if you're in Maryland, the person that asked that question, if you're located in Maryland. For those of you who are in Maryland, SDAT is where to go. It is the, and I don't know if I can find it fast enough to put the link in here, but SDAT is the Maryland system. So you're going to want two things. You're going to want an EIN number. That's with the USDA. That's so you've got a business number and you're not using your social. That will help you not use your Social Security number, even if you're sole proprietor. Say you go to purchase something in bulk, you can use your EIN number to prove you're a business. SDAT, you can go to the Maryland State Department of Assessments and Taxation. That's where you can go to get information. You can do a business entity search. So one thing I suggest to beginning farmers is think about really be careful about the name of your business, right? Because there could be somebody that's similar to you, like if your last name's Smith, Smith Farms, there's probably a ton of Smith Farms. I've even had people in sessions that have said they've gotten negative reviews on social media because it was another Smith Farms and they just found me, or driving directions to the wrong place because the names are so similar. So on this site, I would do a Google search, but I would also go to SDAT, the Maryland State Department of Assessments and Taxation. Read through starting a business in Maryland. They've got some good tutorials there. And then you can do some business entity searches to find out who else has a name that might be similar to yours. So if you haven't established a farm name yet, that's probably where I would get started. And then you can get registered with the state as a business. We have somebody on here that's our financial coach. She's a CPA and works with some women farmers. She's part of the, if you want to, you should be able to, I don't know if you can select as a participant today, if you can do your chat, change your chat to all attendees or everyone, all participants, and you can share that information out there. Again, that's a great way to share the information. And you're in the send to, I don't know if you can make those changes. Again, I'm seeing it as a presenter, not as an attendee. But you may be able to change your chat pod to all participants. Oh, perfect. That went to all panelists. Thank you for testing that. Again, we've just recently changed over to WebEx, and we're having some growing pains with the system. Okay, would love to answer any questions by email. Feel free to send me an email. Check out the site. We'll be, again, posting this. I do see that people had raised their hand for questions. Hopefully those got answered. And again, you feel free to follow up with me. Again, I'll put my email in here. And happy to share that. So thank you very much. I am going to end the recording at this point.